Hi, I'm Tim Harrison. I'm the Managing Director of Ionic Rare Earths. I'm here today to talk about what's been happening with our Makuutu project, recent developments in looking at the Refinery, a standalone heavy rare earth separation and refining asset, and a general update on the exploration results and the work program going forward.
Good man, Tim. Good to see you. So at the beginning of May, you have been busy, so appreciate you coming back on. So when we spoke last, the market did not react well to some numbers you put out around the resource. Right? You had to do some scoping studies, but you weren't allowed to talk about inferred numbers anymore. People got a bit of a shock. Have they got over it?
Whether or not they've got over it, I mean, the reality is that things move on. We're working towards getting the feasibility study now completed. So we're well into the process of increasing the indicated and measured resource base for the project moving forward. A lot of drilling underway. We've recently done some exploration drilling, which has indicated that the overall mineralisation system at Makuutu is going to get a lot bigger. So I think we just continue to add value for shareholders and build a very, very large project for the future.
Okay, so you're focused on getting that scale, improving the scale. So you're doing drilling. You talked about exploration drilling, infill drilling as well?
That's right. So we've done the phase 3 drilling, which was some reconnaissance RAB drilling. We drilled about 1,200 metres across the exploration targets of the project. Those results were very encouraging. We've basically hit rare earth mineralised clay out to the east, which has defined that very large radiometric anomaly. So that's a huge result for the company. We've also identified continuity of clay zones and rare earth mineralisation between the radiometric anomalies that we previously targeted. So the likelihood is that we've got a lot more clay there in the previously tested areas. And we've also identified a new area to the northwest. We've pegged some new ground. And we'll look at doing some initial test work just to understand the ionic adsorption content of that mineralisation. And once we've got some results back on that, we're potentially looking at drilling some of those targets in 2022. Right now, we're in the phase 4 infill drill program. 5,700 metres of drilling to increase the indicated and measured resource base at Makuutu, and that's effectively working towards increasing that resource base for the feasibility study.
Okay, I mean that's the bit most people are going to be interested in, and certainly people perhaps a little bit less experienced than some of the people watching this is they want to know this infill drilling. The purpose of it is to increase the size of the M&I category, bring inferred into M&I. That's what you're doing. So tell me, how much money, how much more drilling, and what's the potential?
Okay, so the phase 4 drilling, 5,700 metres of drilling. We've drilled about 3,700 metres already. The plan is to increase that measured and indicated resource base up to something in the order of somewhere between 15 and 20 years that can support the feasibility study for the project. I mean, we could keep drilling this thing out for the next 18 months, 2 years. We know it's a massive deposit. We only need to really define enough for the next 15 to 20 years of the project.
Okay, I think that's a really important point to make because, as you say, you don't want to be wasting money doing stuff where you've already done enough to get this thing financed. I read recently that you're also talking about the optionality of actually putting up a heavy rare earths refinery. Is that serious, or is that just trying to catch the eye of the market?
No, it's a very serious initiative. A lot of the strategic partners or potential groups that we've been talking with are very interested in the Makuutu basket. By us going downstream, we're providing a solution for them to take our product and supply that directly into the downstream applications in the US, UK, Europe that are looking for these critical raw materials to help move towards carbon neutrality. So first off, you've got to be able to produce the product. We've got it. We're going to have a deposit that's going to produce it for potentially 30 plus years. It makes sense for us to also build the heavy rare earth refining capacity. and to maximise the value of the product for the next 30 years.
Why talk about it now? Why wasn't it in the original plan?
Oh, look, I think initially we had a lot on our plate, just getting Makuutu and the scoping study to the point where we had some robust numbers to move forward. We now know that the project's a lot bigger than we had previously anticipated. The drivers there for us to look at going further. We've obviously had a lot of interesting discussions with potential groups as well. So effectively, the moons are aligning. It's a great time to do it. And I think, the time is now for us to move forward and try and provide that mine to market heavy rare earth supply chain.
See, this is why I'm intrigued by it, because it's quite eye-catching. There's a lot of rare earth companies saying, "Oh, we're trying to extricate ourselves from the potential of the being inside the Chinese ecosystem for rare earths." Right? We're going to stand on our own. We're talking to Europe. We're talking to the North American market. But to do the refining, you're going to need the skills necessary. You're going to need to be able to raise the capital to do it. You're going to need the time to get that built up and running and into market, and whatever your route into market is. So it's a lot of moving parts there. Do you need that headache right now?
Well, I see it a little bit differently. I think Makuutu, we go straight from mine, produce a mixed rare earth carbonate, 70% payability. That's the first step. The second step would be to look at a refinery. So we're not planning on having that operational in 2024 when Makuutu is operating. There'll be a lag. It's going to take us time to develop that asset. But if we start now, it's going to shorten the lead time on us being able to develop that asset. So for us, the time is good for, and the opportunity and the demand is there. So it's a great opportunity for the company to start testing the water, looking at potential locations globally. We want to find the best location that works for not only ourselves, but potential strategic partners. And so, initiating the scoping study makes sense.
So who are you going to be working with on, in fact, explain the phasing of this, you've introduced the concept. So how do you actually go about doing it?
So at the moment we've initiated test work. We've got process modeling underway. We're working with a group who has previously worked in this space before. So we're developing a process model to provide us with the inputs that we need to develop a capital and operating cost estimate for a heavy rare earth separation facility. The capital estimate for a plant that can take our product, separate the rare earths and refine it is nowhere near as capital intensive as the requirements would be for a light rare earth mineral concentrate. So for us, it's not a huge capital imposition for the company, but it does create a huge amount of additional revenue. And potentially with that asset, it enables us to look at bringing in other heavy rare earth products that maybe other producers of the future not going to have the quantities that justify them building a heavy rare earth facility. But for us, we're going to have that plant. There's an opportunity for us to bring that product in, maximize the revenue from that, and build a supply chain closely with potential strategic partners. So, a huge opportunity and one that the company's very excited by.
You're not using it as a tool to kind of get some leverage over the Chinese markets. Last time we spoke, you said the obvious route for you is into China, and they will be net importers. That seems to be the data that's coming through. So is this just a bargaining tool that you're using?
I think the obvious route for us, the first step, the lowest or the easiest entry for us to get into production in 2024 is to go and sell the product to the people that want it today. That's the Chinese. They've got the plants, they've got the spare capacity. We've signed the non-binding MOU with Chinalco, China Rare Earths Jiangsu. They did 12 months of DD. They know this project's real. So for us, getting an arrangement or working with a group, getting into production, supplying that into a market today makes sense. Longer term, as I mentioned earlier, we've got an asset that's going to have a life of around about 30 plus years. So over that 30 plus years, there's a massive opportunity to get an extra 30% payability on the product. And given that the product that Makuutu is going to make, that the individual heavy rare earths are going to be in scarce supply in the future, it's logical to think that the pricing is going to go up. Therefore, there's going to be more upside for the company long term. So I think, realistically, looking at a refinery, looking at a standalone asset makes sense, provides us with the optionality. We can then choose whatever way we want to move forward, what works for us, what works for strategic partners. I think it's the logical thing to do.
Right, but you get my point. But if you don't have that competitive tension with your, say Chinelco or similar, they're in the driving seat. This potentially gives you a bit more optionality for the rest of the market, which changes the nature of your conversation with a Chinelco, for instance.
Yeah, that's right. It does. It provides an alternative route for the project to monetize the asset. So it makes sense. I mean, we're here to maximise the value of the project for shareholders. I think that this is the best way for us to do that. We can get 70% payability of a product that's likely to go up in value substantially over the next 30 years, or we can get 100%. So to me, it's good business.
No, it makes sense. It makes sense. We've seen companies kind of come, get caught out by not doing something similar. I'm not saying you are doing it. I'm just asking a question if it does do that. Let's talk about the technical aspect, because again, for newbies into rare earth space, it's a difficult concept to understand. How advanced is the technology around ionic adsorption clay? Is it something that you guys will eventually be able to sort out, or do you need that strategic partner to come in at the get-go and help you get over the line? Because otherwise you're just digging stuff out of the ground and flipping it on.
Yeah, look, I mean, we're building the capability now. We're planning on doing a demonstration plant and field trials in country next year. That will give us an opportunity to better look at the scaling up of the project, optimization. Every deposit's unique and different. You have to tailor the conditions and the individual unit operations to try and maximise the recoveries. Makuutu will be no different. We'll learn a lot over that 12 months of demonstration phase next year. That'll support the feasibility study. It should de-risk the ramp-up of the project, get us into production, and then away we go. I think when we look at the refining aspects, we are working with a group who've got a lot of expertise in this area. We'll continue to improve, refine our knowledge. There's always the opportunity to bring in know-how. And I think that once the market understands just how confident we are, and I think we're going to be very successful.
Markets have gone, well, I was going to say sideways. They haven't. I think everyone's been absolutely spanked in the last week or so. Make you nervous?
Oh, look, markets go up, markets go down. I think the reality is that we just keep working the program, and the true quality of the Makuutu asset will shine through in the long run. So we're not going to respond to day-to-day fluctuations. It's where we want to be in 14 months' time once we're submitting a mining license application at Makuutu, and then early in 2024 bring it to production. So we're firmly focused on just getting this thing into operation.
Now you're sort of half the price of the dizzy heights of May, April, right? So there's a bit of, there's been a reset, right? Are you concerned about your ability to raise cash going forward? I know the refinery is some ways down the line. We had some questions sent in about, big dilution from refinery, but you're years away from that. What do you need to kind of keep things going for the next 18 months?
Yeah, look, let's address the dilution from refinery. I think by the time we're building a refinery, we'll be generating a lot of cash out of Makuutu. So I don't really see that as being a dilutionary event. And I don't think the capital is going to be much more than probably what we're looking at to develop Makuutu. So it's not going to be a very big price tag relative to some of the challenges that the hard rock peers have to deal with. We've got 11.2 million in the bank. So, we're funded. We've got enough money in the bank for us to be able to work the program that we've outlined for the feasibility study. We're firmly focused on getting the job done with the money that we've got in the bank. it's not really much more to say. I think we've got a plan. We're working the plan. We're always on the lookout for good opportunities. And I think, potentially when it comes to the demonstration plant, that's something that I think will add a lot of value to the project. It'll provide a lot more confidence to the market. And I think that, coupled with the feasibility study, the market will get a lot more information and hopefully feel a lot more comfort with the path that the company's taking forward.
Okay. Message to shareholders is what? Yeah, we're going to deliver the plan. We're going to deliver the plan. But how do you guys stand out from the rest of the rare earth story? There seem to be a few popping up at the moment. It's getting a little bit exciting out there. There's some, a lot of conversations out of the US. A lot of conversations about, we're going to be ex-China, right? I think you've been quite candid and said, well, maybe eventually, but we're not going to go down that path. Why should shareholders be confident in your ability to deliver this story? Because things got exciting, February, March, April, May. You were excited, the market was excited. You a little more sanguine about it now?
No, I don't think anything's really changed. What makes us different? Why do we stand out? Well, basket's number one. We've got a basket, 73% critical plus heavies. That's unique compared to everything else on the ASX and a lot of the other projects being developed worldwide. So our basket stands out. Capital-wise, we're very low capital, so it means that it's a project that's actually going to get built. We've got a fraction of the capital requirements that a lot of other projects have got. So that means that it's going to be easier for us to raise that funding. I mean, funding at the best of times is a challenge, but I'd rather be trying to raise $90 million than $900 million. And I think that, so basket, I think capital, and I think the reality is that, being an ionic adsorption clay, we've started to see a number of these pop up. 18 months ago, the market really didn't understand or have any other companies out there that were pushing ionic adsorption clays. Now they're popping up everywhere, which is interesting to see. But I think the reality is that, when it comes to proven real ionic adsorption clays, they're very easy to demonstrate if they are. And I think everyone knows that Makuutu, we've done the work, we've got a project that's real, and we're 30 months away from ideally getting into production. So we've got a head start on a lot of these other companies. So, these are the things that differentiate us from the rest of the market. And I think realistically, we've got a great head start. We've got a great project, low capital requirement, and a great basket.
Tim, I appreciate you coming in and giving us an update on what's going on. Like I said, we had a great conversation last time out. I think people should go listen to that if you want to understand the business plan, the strategy. In fact, even a little bit about the basket of rare earths as well, and your strategy for getting it there. Come back on, let us know how this drilling goes. I'm intrigued about this infill. I think it will really, really help people understand the scale of the opportunity here. So stay in touch and we'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Matt.